Welcome, guys, back to the I Love Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, as always, Justin Woolwine. Today, we are welcomed with Martin Casaus. How we doing, man?
Ooh, you got the name right even.
I
Said
I got it.
well.
I got
Well done,
it.
well done, well done. I'm doing fantastic, Justin. How you doing?
Blessed, excited to be here. I know I told you before this. I've been ready for this all week, and I just can't wait to dive in to know why you love professional wrestling, maybe as much as I do.
Okay, okay.
Before we dive into all that, let's do the plugs. Your social medias, what you got going on, maybe your energy drink, things like that.
Yes, so if you guys don't know me or follow me, most people know me from WWE Tough Enough, Lucha Underground, AAA, or streaming, various other outlets. Um, so my website is being repaired right now, but it's normally martincasaus.com. Just follow me on Instagram or any of the socials. Find me up. I run a digital payment platform that helps wrestlers and wrestling companies make money. I have an energy drink called the Rascal. The camera doesn't like it, but I like it. So it's delicious. So check out rmprascal.com. It can't take bumps forever, man. Still chair shots to the head, do some damage to you.
Definitely, definitely.
But I love
Eh,
this business. I love wrestling. That's why we're here, right?
100%, and that's the name of the game. That's why we're here. And that leads me perfectly into my first question. When did you find professional wrestling, and what about it made you fall in love with
My first memory of professional wrestling, honestly, was that sticks out to me. Somebody was getting beat up by multiple people in the ring. There were some bad guys, some heels, beating up a single good guy, and I'm like, why aren't they stopping them? What's going on? And I'm watching it with my grandpa as I'm playing out at the house. Which, funny enough, I live in that house now. When he passed away, I bought the house, so it's kind of sentimental here for me. Um, but I saw that, I'm like, what are they doing? And then I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And then what happened was my mom was a big Jay Leno fan. And then all of a sudden Hulk Hogan comes in and starts having talking with Jay Leno, and all of a sudden they're having a match. I was a huge Utah Jazz fan. I was a huge basketball fan before professional wrestling. I still am. NBA is awesome. I don't get to set a chance to sit down and actually watch many things. Um, but I'm watching the Utah Jazz, and then all of a sudden DDP is having a wrestling match with Karl Malone. I'm like, what in the
it?
heck? I have got to check out this wrestling thing. So it was just it just kept hitting me in the head that I need to be a wrestling fan, and uh, and here we are. Or ever since I was a little kid, not like super little kid, maybe 12, 13, I think. Um, whenever the Monday Night Wars started, so I was what was that 98, 99?
Yep,
Yeah,
ish.
actually, so yeah, 13, 14. So yeah,
Okay.
13, 14 around that area. Loved it. Just saw 'em all my. I mean, it was just around me so much that like it just kept hitting me in the head that I have to at least go watch and give this a chance. And man, did I get hooked.
What made you decide to take the transition from fan to training, trainee, I should say?
The ability to know that it was an option.
Okay.
When as I watched it, and then I was hooked, and I loved WCW. I was a big WCW fan. I loved DDP and Goldberg. I was a football player, so I loved watching Goldberg just spear the living crap out of people. Um, and so I'm like, that's super cool. And then once that whole transition happened, where it's just the WWF, WWE now, um, they eventually around 2003, yeah, did a show here in Salt Lake City, Utah. And as I'm standing in line waiting for a WWE Raw, somebody gave me a ticket to go. So I wasn't even intending on going anyway. It's just I didn't go out and do much. But I was given a ticket by a friend. And as I'm standing in line, one of the local wrestlers came up and is like, "Hey, here's a flyer for our next show." I'm like, "What do you mean your show?" And I found out there's professional wrestling that's on the indie level. And then I'm like, "What? Really? There is?" I'm he's like, "Yeah, we got a show coming up." And there's a school right down the street, actually, if you ever want to get in the ring. And I'm like, whoa. So I sat that down and I forgot about it for 3 days. And then I called back, and as soon as they said, "Hey, come on down and train," And then as soon as I stepped through the ropes, I'm like, uh-oh, I'm gonna do this forever.
Okay.
So
Was that with UCW?
that was with UCW. That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
How important would you say that that school and that company was to the beginning stages of your career?
Huge. It was the only option in Utah that we had. The only closest options was I was driving to Las Vegas, which is a 6 hour drive, or to Colorado, which is an 8 hour drive. So if unless I made those trips, which I didn't even know about were options until 4 years into professional wrestling, actually being on the scene doing it, but I didn't only it was I was here. I didn't know you could there's other wrestling out there on the local level. But UCW, since that was the only thing running here, it was critical. And it taught me very good how to wrestle, basics. And it, I very, I sometimes think about what life would be like if I didn't go to that WWE show and wrestling wasn't in my life. Because if I didn't go to that WWE show, unless God had other plans for me, I would have never gotten that flyer, which would never put me in the ring, which would have never made the last 21 years of my life go the way it's gone.
So it's crazy to think about things like that because that one decision to go to a wrestling show, which you wouldn't have if that friend wouldn't have given you a ticket,
Correct.
ultimately changed your life forever.
Correct.
Um, and I think that's the interesting thing about wrestling is that's pretty much the story for most people is it's just one time somebody brings it up and then it sticks with you for the rest of your life. And honestly, and like this might sound a little cliche, but like in the most beautiful way possible. Like it's just there.
Hmm.
Um, something I found very interesting about doing, like when I was doing research about you, is for the first several years of your career, you didn't go by Marty or Martin. It was Tristan. What made you decide to say, okay, I'm gonna drop Tristan and I'm gonna go this other way and make a full transition into maybe a new character or a new persona?
So the whole reason I started with the Tristan Gallow name, I used to be called Tristan Gallow, the reflection of perfection, the best in sports entertainment, the man that men want to be and women want to be with. Um, I was Tristan Gallow. I was basically, so I was bullied as a kid.
Okay.
And so I literally took all the stuff that I saw that I hated about bullies and then turned it into a character. And that turned up into be and I really do think wrestling, I'd be such a different person if it wasn't for wrestling. Because I found my who I am because of wrestling and playing other characters. Um, but I soaked all that in there and I started wrestling. And honestly, once I started wrestling training, 3 weeks later, I was in the next show. I was athletic, and I just put it up on my YouTube channel. Go to my YouTube channel and look up Mr. Martin Casals, or just Google Marty the Moth and find me. But I put my first match up, and man, I was athletic. I knew what was going on, but the match didn't make any sense. It was just crazy. And then I asked, like, well, I don't care. You can name me like Spud the Peanut. I don't care what I wrestle under. Just let me go wrestle, brother. And he's like, cool, we're gonna call you Tristan. I'm like, where'd you get that? I looked it up and they said it was strong. I'm like, who's they? The internet. I'm like, okay, cool. So Tristan Gallo. So he picks that name. I'm like, all right, I'll wrestle under any name. I don't care. But then I wrestled under that until 2011. And then in 2011, I was contacted by the WWE and I did a show called WWE Tough Enough with Stone Cold Steve Austin, Trish Stratus, Bill DeMott, and Booker T.
Yep.
And then so 4 million plus people every Monday saw me and they put that little card under that says Martin. And I have a doofy face and I smile. And I'm like, well, I can't call myself Tristan anymore when 4 million people just around the world just saw me as Martin. So I might as well just use my real name. And luckily, it's just kind of stayed that way and kept it evolved ever since.
You bring up Tough Enough, and that was honestly around that time. I was about 11. That was the first time like I got to really experience Tough Enough because like they did the seasons before, but I was real young, like 3, 4, 5 years old.
Yeah.
So like this was the first time like I was watching Tough Enough, and I was like that made me kind of realize like as an 11-year-old, like hey, these are normal people. Like I can do this, and so like instantly I was like hooked, like. And I remember from that season, you was injured, and you was the only person, if I'm correct, that was never in the bottom three, and the only person that got to hang up that belt. What
Correct.
did that feel like?
Like hell. I hated it because that aspect I didn't know about or think about when during that time. All I
Yeah.
could think about is I spent all so literally that training where I got injured on Tough Enough. It was a night training. We did a night training, which was out of the normal set of things the way we did things on Tough Enough at that time. And then I got injured, and then like obviously I didn't want to be injured, so I didn't know what was going on. So I did like three more drills after I was injured just to try and see how much pressure I could put on it. And then finally they're like, something's going on with you. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Like, stand under the leg, just the other leg and pick up the other leg. And unfortunately, I couldn't do it. And they're like, all right, yeah, we got to send you to the hospital just to get it checked out. I'm like, well, if they say it's injured, you guys are gonna make me quit, and I don't like that. So no, you're not sending me. And he was like, no, 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 we'll just go get it checked out. And if you want to keep competing, we'll let you keep competing. I'm like, cool, fine then. So I went to the hospital and literally I spent all night in the hospital, and right from there, coming back to the arena, that's where I hung up my belt. So I was tired and angry. I was hanging up my belt. So not a great moment for me at that time. But I had the doctors. I broke my foot. I broke my leg. I have a pin in my leg still from that time. My souvenir. Thank you. Um, and I had them give me a doctor's second look at it. I'm like, well, what is that called again? A second look, a second guess, or a second checkup, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the doctor's check. I'm like, okay, they're like, it's broken. You're probably gonna need surgery, and uh, so yeah, you're gonna we're gonna because of insurance reasons we can't let you continue. I'm like, well, I don't like that idea, so I'm gonna get asked for a second opinion. Like, really? I'm like, yes, I like a second opinion. Bring another doctor in here. Let's figure it out. So they did, and then uh, same thing. He's like, yep, what the first doctor said. I'm like, cool. I don't like that answer. Send another one in. They're like, what? No. I'm like, yeah, come on, man. I've been here for 5 hours because you know everything at the hospital takes forever.
Forever.
I got a third opinion from the doctors. Like, guys, just it's broken, man. Like, there's no here it is. It's obvious. It's broken, and for insurance reasons, you can no longer continue. And that's when I was raging out. And then literally we went from the hospital in the same van. I parked right in front of the door. They hand me the belt and like, you got to go give your belt up to Steve. Like, so I was tired. I was angry. So it wasn't the greatest moments of mine. And I hadn't seen anybody. So it wasn't the greatest moment. But as I look back on it, like there's no better way it could have gone. Everything in life happens for a reason. It's cool. I never hit the bottom three. It's cool that Steve let me hang up my own belt. Steve Austin was very kind after the camera shut off, where he's like, "Hey, brother, I feel for you. I know what it's like. If you don't mind, if you want my cell phone number, I'll give you my cell phone number, and you can send me anything. I help give you any advice as you go through your career." I'm like, "Yeah, hell yeah." I'll I'll gladly have
100%.
Stone
Yep.
Cold Steve Austin, the greatest performer ever, give me advice on my career. Absolutely. So he was super kind about it, gave me a cell phone. We've been in touch ever since. It's been super cool. So without WWE Tough Enough, my whole life wouldn't be what it is today. From the relationships that were created from there and just the experience I've had from that time. So at that time when it was happening, which is usually how life happens, right? At that time, I hated what was going on. But man, if that didn't have happened, there's so much stuff wouldn't have happened that I'm enjoying currently.
Do you think like that exposure from Tough Enough helped you once you recovered and got back on that indie grind?
Of course, yeah. Then it was just something else to promote. And it's just like, hey, you might have
Yeah.
seen me on Tough Enough. If not, hey, there's this guy who did Tough Enough, and he did. I still had the assets I learned from the past however many years from wrestling, so I knew how to wrestle by that point. So yeah, I think it was just more to, hey, now we're on the show. Let's promote this show. So it was good to have something else like, hey, this is something that we did. So just something else to promote.
Okay. Um, Going back to UCW, they did a lot of partnerships with the NWA. What were those shows like for you as a competitor, working for both, UCW and then having the branding of the NWA associated with it?
That was One of my first times going outside of the state. So I'd wrestled for 7 years, and around 2007, I found out, hey, the NWA is a thing. I'm like, what? There's other people that do this? And they're like, yeah, they have a TV show and everything. And I'm like, what? Where is this? California. Okay, and are you guys going? Like, yeah, they want you and a couple guys going down. I'm like, all right, how are we gonna get there? It's a 12-hour drive. Okay, let's do it. So it was really cool. Shout out to David Marquez for giving me my first chance at TV. It was awesome because at UCW we didn't have a TV product. It was a regular what you see a lot of independent promotions like right now, where there's a ring and then we put together the best show for the people that are there. And that's what UCW was like, and it was a great show. But then going down there, we drove 12 hours down to California. David Marquez let me have some experience. I was wrestling other people besides the same core guys that were in Salt Lake City, Utah. So that was awesome. That made me grow, get outside of my comfort zone from wrestling your buddy 9,000 times. Um, and it was my first time on experiencing TV. So, hey, we're going to commercial. Hey, we're shooting this for this. Hey, we're doing a backstage promo for this. And it was a really cool experience just to get out of my comfort zone, see, hey, there's more out there than just us 20 people like rocking Utah shows for a couple hundred people a show. It was really cool. So I got a shout out to David Marquez. You're the man. Thank you for helping me get started on my first TV experience.
Something else, once again, from doing research, I thought was really cool was you got to do work with Marty Jannetty, and you also had a tag team with Derek Jannetty as
Yes.
the foundation. What was working with both of those guys like, and how did the formation of the foundation come together?
Derek Janetti is actually the guy who handed me the flyer the very first day at WWE Raw when he's like, "Hey, well, there's a local promotion here, and there's a school." I'm like, "Okay." So Derek Janetti, for the longest time, he's still my best bud. I just don't we don't get to see each other very much, but he was my ride or die. We would travel together. He would train me on everything. He could have gone very far. He just didn't like getting out of his comfort zone. But and to be a professional wrestler, getting out of your comfort zone, or to be successful in anything, honestly, I think I'm seeing lots of parallels between wrestling and just life in general.
Life.
Yeah, to be successful in anything, usually you have to get out of your comfort zone, and success that you're looking for is usually just on the other side of it.
hmm
So, I don't know how the foundation all stuff happened because that was many years ago. But I remember we brought in Marty Jannetty. Derek Jannetty was wrestling. There was no actual familial relation. But he had the last name Jannetty. Marty is a legend, so we brought him in, and then they formed up the team. And man, it was cool to be able to wrestle legends, and like, okay, I can go with these guys, and then hanging out with them and seeing just it was a blast. I'll just say it was a blast. Derek Jannetty, I wouldn't have the career that I have without my friend Derek Jannetty. So shout out to you, Derek, love you, and it was great. That was my first time actually experiencing like wrestling a name. Was through Marty Jannetty. I love Marty.
Before I dive into Lucha Underground, because I'm sure that's what a lot of people watching this video want to hear about. Um, Something once again that I thought was really cool is you got to tangle up with Eric Watts. What was it like working with Eric back in the day?
Now this is Eric Watts from WWE Tough Enough. They're not the
Yep.
original OG Eric Watts, but it's I love being able to make friends in one venue like WWE Tough Enough, and then be able to take that relationship and hey, here's my home. Hey, here's my where I've been cutting my teeth at. Where and then they brought me over. Me AJ Kirsch brought me over to a place with Billy Blade. I can't remember the name of the company they had at the time, but it was ran by Billy Blade. It was he did AJ Kirsch, uh, Eric Watts versus me, a big tough enough battle. It's always fun to take relationships that you've created somewhere and take those relationships and expand those relationships across the country. Always fun. Love them guys. Uh, AJ Kirsch, Eric Watts, some of my boys still to this day. I was just hanging out with them during WrestleMania weekend, and then a little bit before that. So
That's
love
great.
them.
It's great to see, that if you think about Tough Enough happened about 14 years ago now, and to still see you guys connected and talking and being, around each other and being boys is it's really cool, and it's nice to see things like that.
I think honestly, one thing that I love about wrestling is it coming up. Usually people have very similar stories, or they can understand the struggle that someone has to get to the ring, to be in the ring with you in the first place, let
Yes.
alone get to the higher levels to be in those rings with you in the first place. So there's a common I get you before, just like in any industry, the band industry, the entertainment industry, the acting industry, people get there's camaraderie that's built in almost. Um, where I think that's one of the funnest parts about professional wrestling is there's a camaraderie that's already built right from the beginning, and then you just get to enhance those experiences by personalization with each other. It's probably the one thing funnest thing about professional wrestling is the camaraderie you built in 12-hour drives. And I'm like, man, I punched you really hard. My bad.
And something else that like going to kind of piggyback off that is the another fun thing I found out about wrestling is, especially from talking to you guys, is the ability to have a conversation and then not see each other for a month, 2 months, and pick up right back where you left off and continue that said conversation. And like, um, lately I've been going to regular indie shows in the Chicago area, and they run
All
about once a
right.
month.
Nice.
So
Who's out
like
there?
uh names that I think people should pay attention to. Last night actually, this young man by the name of Rafael Quintero, had a cage match with another gentleman by the name of Iniestra.
Nice.
Phenomenal athletes. There's a young lady by the name of Lily Ruiz out here. She's done work for NWA Chicago, and then she recently did like NWA Exodus. She's phenomenal as well. Some of the names that like really stick out. Another guy, one more while I'm plugging guys. Bruce Hamilton. He is he did powerlifting for like years, like, and now he's in his mid to late 30s. He's got 6 kids, but he just decided to switch from powerlifting and doing bodybuilding to now be a wrestler. And
Mhm.
he just hit a year a couple days ago and just won his first championship last night. But he's been on WWE TV on doing extra work, and the guy just travels everywhere. So
Awesome.
like, if somebody deserves to make he puts in the dedication, sleeps in his car, like he's doing the grind.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I love it. And one thing that I love now, is like I was saying, UCW, I didn't know there was other wrestling out there to go make a name for myself for the first 4 years or something like that. So I love that it's his first year in. He just his 1 year anniversary and he's traveling all over the place. So well done.
But
So
like
it's awesome to be around there. Get out as fast as you can, wrestlers.
a
Go make a name for
hundred
yourself.
percent. But like it's crazy because like I live just about 2 hours west of Chicago. So I drove out to Detroit, just south of Detroit, Michigan, to go to a show for Rhino. Rhino told me, "Hey, if you want to interview, come out here and check out my show." And I drove out there. I checked it out, and Bruss was on that show, and I was like, "You're like super far from Chicago." And he's like, "Well, I live in Indiana, and I go to Iowa, and I go to Wisconsin and Michigan and Ohio and everywhere." And I'm like, "Okay." So not only am I hitting the road, but I know for sure Russ is hitting the road. So like, it's just cool to see that, especially when you get to see guys that you see from your home area and you travel out and they're like, "Well, I'm here too, and I'm doing the same thing." And it's just, I think it builds, what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, it builds that
Character.
respect and camaraderie between ourselves in that relationship. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. I think there's a mutual respect. There's a lot of people who say, I want to be a wrestler. I want to be a wrestler. I want to be a wrestler. But then they're like, I gotta drive how far in order to go to training? I have to go to the gym. I have to like eat right. You want me to drive 12 hours to go shoot TV? Yes.
Yes.
You walk the walk and you do whatever it needs to take to make your stuff happen. Make your dreams come true. And that's not
100%.
gonna happen by flapping your gums.
With that, like that's something I've found in doing podcasting. I feel like I've gained more respect by taking that same system and saying, okay, if you guys are going to travel, I'm going to travel. If you guys are going to put in hours, I'm going to put in hours. And if you guys are going to, work hard and train hard and learn, I'm going to do the same thing. And I think so far that's what's given me the ability to stand out. And it's what's also made this journey so far so much more fun. It's just to
Mm.
actually try to be as much a part of it as I can without overstepping the boundaries, if that makes sense.
Mhm. And now the boundaries are very blurry nowadays. There's even a WWE show coming out about writing and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, and which is fun. That's a whole process that people don't understand that people go through, and that all the work from the stage hands to building the ring, like all the work that goes through making a show. There's so much an incredible amount of work by so many people that don't get enough credit. Um, that that there- it they don't get enough praise versus the people that are up there holding championships. So I love that you're traveling around like that. I always say if you want success in anything, find someone that has the success you want and emulate what they're doing. So I love that you're out there hitting the road, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Now I'm going to get into my most anticipated part of this interview. I want to know about Lucha Underground. Tell us how you got brought into the fold. And I think the thing I'm most interested to learn is how different was it working with them as opposed to other wrestling companies?
Um, sorry, I'm sick. It was actually funny because I got a Facebook message,
Okay.
saying, "Hey, I'm this person from this media company and WWE, you're on WWE's radar. They would like to send you to send in a video for WWE Tough Enough." And by this time, there was already like videos going out like crazy, and everyone was doing like a voting thing. Hey, vote which person you want to see on WWE Tough Enough, and da da da. I'm like, it's popularity contest. I don't want to. I don't want to do. I would just never make it. My confidence was in myself has usually been pretty low until recently. So that's one thing I love about wrestling. You're better than you think, no matter how far you think you are. Um, and I thought it was a fake. I mean, it's a Facebook message. Like WWE's not gonna send me a Facebook message to get on the team. But then I'm like, what if? What if they did? What like it's I might as well. So I contacted my friend and we made a little video and we sent it in and I didn't put it on like the voting sites or nothing. I just sent it to this dude. And then they're like, hey, yeah, no, they loved it and we want to do another interview. Like, oh, this is real now. Okay. And then so they had a phone interview. I was a stockbroker at that time. I worked for a brokerage firm helping people retire. And I would go on break. I'm like, guys, I gotta go. I gotta take this. I don't care if you fire me. Just give me a second. And then I went and did the break and I did their interview there. And they're like, hey, well, we like you, so we would like you to pack some of your stuff, and we'll bring you out here around this date. And this will be the final audition. We'll have a bunch of people at the hotel, and if you make it in the show, we'll just start the show right at that time. And if you don't, we'll just send you home and we'll go back to normal life. I'm like, okay, cool. And so that's kind of how it went. Um, I got contacted on Facebook to get on WWE Tough Enough. And here's the funny thing. Um, I'm sorry, to get on. Hold up a second. We were talking about Lucha Underground, huh?
Yep.
Sorry, Lucha Underground. Um, to get on Lucha Underground, I got an email from my buddy Eric Van Wagenen. Sorry, brain fart. I went on for the whole
You're
WWE Tough
good.
Enough
I
story.
would look, I was enjoying it, so I wasn't even going to say anything. And then I was like, is it going to lead to tough enough?
It well, actually, it did
Okay.
because life everything happens for a reason. So, WWE Tough Enough happened. A guy named Eric Van Wagenen saw me. He's like, oh, he's a Utah boy. Let's give him a chance. And that's what got me on Tough Enough is my relationship with Eric Van Wagenen. And then when Lucha Underground happened, Eric Van Wagenen was one of the guys making Lucha Underground happen. And so he contacted me on Facebook again. I'm like, hey man, would you want to like help us bring Lucha Libre to America? I'm like, I don't know what that means, but sure, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. And I was like one of the first ones actually ever contacted because they're like, you're Mexican, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm half Mexican. Like, okay, you're hired. I'm like, hey, sweet. Okay. They're like, we don't know what we want to do with you, but we want you here to do something. I liked your stuff on Tough Enough, and let's just see what happens. I'm like, okay, cool. So I got brought out there. I went through several gimmick changes in dark matches before Lucha Underground. We settled on Marty the Moth, and I
Hmm.
was a magician, and I was almost a missionary type character. But I got ended up getting a concussion, and when I came back, they said, "Hey, you're Marty the Moth. You're a big kid who's not all there, and go." And that's kind of the base that they gave me. They helped me every step of the way. They were so awesome to let me go and create this character. And I'm like, does this work? How about this? What about this? And they're like, yeah, man, go have fun. Lucha Underground, man. Without Lucha Underground, without Lucha and WWE Tough Enough, my life would be very, very, very different right now.
What was the vibe of being in the arena that for Underground? Like what how does that compare to your normal, wrestling venue setting?
There was immaculate sets. That first temple was beautiful, man. It was awesomely built, and because they had that Lucha Underground El Rey feel to it, they had
Hmm.
everything to look like it was rough and dingy, and it was all like the nicest equipment ever. But they just made it movie magic it to make it look nice and rough. But it was like it wasn't a lot of people compared to some shows, but there's like a good 400 people, maybe 500 people, something like that, in this little environment, in this stage area, where it was really intimate. There's no guardrails or anything like that. It was really cool to have everybody there, and everybody there was ecstatically awesome. The Lucha Underground fans, the believers, were on a whole nother level. They were just so excited. They would. I got called creepy bastard and never thought I'd be so excited about being called a creepy bastard.
That's
Um, it,
great.
it's great because they were just so excited about the next show and everything that was happening. And it was just a very intimate, excited group of people to be around. It was magical every time we went inside that temple.
Do you like does it ever like surprise you still that people to this day are still like, can we get another season of Lucha Underground? Like that will want and that thirst for it, even as recent as Penta coming to WWE, and they're talking about, hey, we could maybe see a Lucha Underground, return or something like that, like just teasing here and there. Is that something that ever just surprises you?
Surprise me? No. I
Okay.
think it would not. It would surprise me more if people didn't say we want another season because I feel like we didn't get to finish telling our story. There was a whole subculture, I think, around Lucha Underground. I think there still is. It's like I don't want to say cult classic, but there's a culture around that whole thing that it does not surprise me that people are like, we need season five.
Yes.
And honestly, we need season five. If you guys are watching, if you guys are watching this, which obviously you are because you're here and you're listening to me, we need a season five. So let the people know season five Lucha Underground is there. Um, but also, look at what Lucha Underground did for so many people. It's done amazing wonders to my life. You got Penta, Phoenix, everybody up there had doing some amazing things. Swerve's up there taking over AEW. Like just the amount of talent that was in that thing. That was like a launching pad for so many people to do some amazing things with their careers. So it
Definitely.
does not surprise me whatsoever. People want to see more.
Okay. What do you think are the odds that we get a season five?
I say it's professional wrestling, man. So I say never
Never
say
say
never.
never. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. I love
And
it.
and I just got done doing the shout out to Marty Elias, a Lucha Underground referee. I just got done doing his show about Lucha Underground and just the ins and outs of Lucha Underground. If you haven't watched it, please watch it. And I hope there's a couple fans that said I was speaking maybe negative towards it. No, Lucha Underground was one of the coolest experiences of my life. It got me so many connections. It got me so much exposure. It literally has changed my life in so many amazing ways, from the production crew to the people that made the costumes. Man, the costume guys were there all day, just making stuff. And everybody there, it was really cool. You asked the question earlier about what made it stick out compared to everything else. Everybody wants to have pride in their show, but this was I felt like a different level where people were watching each other's matches, from everyone from like the costume design to the writers, to everybody. It was just so focused not on like, hey, let's make Johnny Mundo and Rey Mysterio or Anybody look really good. Like, no, what makes the show as a whole blow up as much as we can? And because it was a television show about a wrestling product rather than a wrestling product with a TV show, we could have, and that was a huge difference right there. We could have
Yeah,
time travel. We could bring people back to life. We could chop off heads. We could have like samurai fights. We could have monsters and gods and humans all fighting because it was a TV show about a wrestling company, not a wrestling company with a TV show.
100%. No, I think that was the part, like for me as a kid or a teenager at that time growing up, I think that's what made it so much different because it was like, okay, as a kid, like I watched my superheroes and then I watched my wrestling, but they were always separate. And that was the one place where it was believable that, Mil Muertes is this god and he, you know what I mean? And then Vampiro has this dark ability to make Penta evil, and it was just all the aspects were just so cool. And then like even down to like Drago and the mask, like me believing as a kid, maybe he's part dragon and just things like that was just so cool. And it was just so believable. And then the fighting was just so much different because it felt more raw and more real. And like the fights and the matches just seemed like they had so much more stakes and that you guys took it so much more seriously as opposed to watching a Raw or a SmackDown at that time. It just like it just felt so much more real and just different. And it was at a time when I think we needed something different.
Absolutely. I think at that time, though, there was no AEW, there's no a lot of any other wrestling companies that were really getting a lot of exposure besides the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And so just having another option that was just so drastically different than the other option that people were used to was a game changer. Shout out to Krista Joseph. That man changed my life and wrote some sick things in a sick television show that that changed the culture. All of a sudden, you're seeing WWE now having cinematic matches with The Undertaker. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that would have ever happened without a culture that was created from Lucha Underground.
No, no, and definitely not. And even down to like AEW, like Sting's first match was that cinematic match, and they did it in that warehouse, and it all felt kind of Lucha Underground esque. I mean, even down to having Brian Cage as part of it, but like it just felt like this is something you'd see in a Lucha Underground. Or like I think the most recent thing that really stuck out was they did the Chad Gable vignettes when he was going to Mexico. And that's whenever I was like, okay, that's pretty much a Lucha Underground video. Like that feels very Lucha Underground. And I just the teases and the little nuances that these companies are now taking from Lucha shows how much that Lucha really meant to the business as a whole for the short amount of time it was around.
I feel like professional wrestling was always shown a certain way with a certain paintbrush. And then
Yeah,
Lucha Underground came along with a giant crayon or marker and just started scribbling all over stuff. And then people are like, that's super cool. So when Lucha Underground ended, people are like, well, that worked with the crayon and the marker. So we should take some of that and use some of those brush strokes that they had with that crayon and make some more magic. And you can, I love seeing the influence that it has because I don't think you'd have cinematic matches. I don't think you'd have somebody fun promos or backstage venues stuff,
yeah,
backstage stuff that you see nowadays. I don't think that would have happened as easy or been as accepted as much by the higher brass without the influence of what Lucha Underground did.
definitely.
Absolutely.
One of like the most influential Lucha Underground matches was against Swerve or Kill Shot at the time in the Weapons of Mass Destruction match. I just want you to walk us through what that match was like for you and the brutality that you guys put each other through.
That match wasn't even supposed to happen. Uh,
Okay.
Me and Swerve, they had a storyline with us with the dog tags, and
Yep.
then Chris DeJoseph came up to me and was like, "Hey, we're gonna have you guys fight out here and have a 10-minute match, and then we're gonna end it." And then we're like, "Well, what if we did something more with it, man? I feel like we've been having fun. Most of our matches have just been brawls, fighting around. We don't even finish a match. What if we ended it with something bigger?" He's like, "Huh? Hold on a sec." He went and talked with the other writing staff and came back. He's like, "Okay, we're gonna do that." I'm like, "Okay, so you're not gonna wrestle tonight?" I'm like, "No, I." He's like, "No, so you guys aren't wrestling tonight." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And that end up being the Weapons of Mass Destruction match when we came back the next season. So shout out to Krista Joseph and the amazing writing staff from Lucha Underground that would take feedback from the wrestlers and be like, well, what if we did this? Like obviously, if we're not pitching them anything, that doesn't give them anything to take feedback from. But it was so cool. There was no fighting about it. There was no nothing. Krista Joseph just like, okay, yeah, let's go find out. And then like, okay, yeah, we're gonna do something different with it. I'm like, okay, that's awesome. And then I got a phone call like, hey, we're gonna have a weapons of mass destruction match. I'm like, I don't know what that means. And he's like, well, we're gonna have pretty much a bunch of military stuff everywhere. You guys are gonna go to war. I said that sounds like a
Sounds like a
blast.
plan to me.
Yeah, sounds like a plan to me. All right. And then we got through that day, and then we looked around and they set it all up, and we got there the prior night, and they gave us an idea of, hey, this is how everything's going to be set up. So if you got an idea, think of something, and then have a good match tomorrow. I'm like, okay, and they just built us a playground, man. They built us with the containers. There was missiles there. I jerked off a missile, and to some guy's face, they took that off TV. Um, so I don't know how much I can actually say on this. I don't know if I can swear anything on this
You're
podcast.
good.
Oh, sweet. But there was so much that they gave us options to play within, which this is really cool. Like you give writers a blank page to write with, and you gave two professional wrestlers a playground to go play with. Like, go have fun. And I remember in particular, this is a big moment for me, and I don't think Swerve even actually understood it, but maybe he's heard it in a podcast. But Vampiro came up to us and he's like, hey, you guys, this is your first main event at Lucha Underground. So if you screw this up, like I don't know when you're going to get a chance to main event again. Like, oh, okay, that's good to know. Like, yeah, so don't screw this up. Makes this something cool. He's like, you got it right, and then swear without before he was done answering the question. Stewart's like, yeah, we got this. I'm like, yeah, we got this. Yeah, no, easy. And we did. It was awesome because we were able to tell a good story with the dog tags. It wasn't just two guys hitting each other with stuff. It was a story. And Swerve is I just recently posted it because I just did the Lucha Underground podcast with Marty. Swerve is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and I'm glad he's finally getting hit the love that he should deserve. Um, that match was one of my favorite, probably if not the favorite match I've had in my career. I've been in the rings with legends, and that one was just super fun. Everything just flowed. We had a whole story with the Melissa Santos who was in there. That made a awesome fan reaction every time I got to interact with her. And Melissa Santos was always willing to play ball with anything and everything. And she's awesome. Shout out to her as well. I'm just shouting out everybody. I just love everybody, man. This whole experience made my life so much better in relationships, in my wrestling career, in my life. Like I when I look back at Lucha Underground and people are like, bring it back, I'm like, hell yeah, it won't. I don't know if it'd be the same, but that moment in time was an amazing time for a lot of people, I believe.
Definitely. And it just I know we've talked about it and it's just one of those things that everybody associated with it just loved it so much. Like I've even had like PJ Black on here and he just was talking about how much he enjoyed it and like it was one of the most fun times of his career. And I think he's the only other guy Lucha I've had on now that I think about it. But like
You
just
got a lot
watching
more
other
people to interview,
podcasts,
brother.
I got a whole roster filled that I gotta get on here. But like if you listen to other interviews, shout out to those. Um, that's all you hear is the love for Lucha Underground and how it brought you guys together as a family and just how everybody was able to connect. And it wasn't just one guy writing the script telling you guys what to do. It was just everybody, let's work together, like you said earlier, to make the best product you possibly can.
Absolutely. And I think anytime a group of individuals come together for a common cause and put that common cause first and set aside any other differences, that the amazing things happens. And I think from the writing staff who are just like, here's a story we want to tell. How would you go for it? To the wrestlers who are all top notch, best wrestlers in the world. Rey Mysterio, Mundo, Taya, everyone in there. Thunder Rosa. There's so many wrestlers there. Eva Lise. There's just Ray. Like every person I name. has just so much raw talent. The writers, the people making the sets, everyone just wanted to make that show so well. There wasn't, hey, let's elevate this guy and we're telling you what to do. There was, here's what we want to try and get. How can we make this awesome? And anytime we have a group of people that come together for a common cause, community, amazing things happen. And I think that showed.
It's definitely it's a beautiful thing, and I think it just goes to show that love for professional wrestling, wherever it is, um,
Like, yeah, love always wins, brother. I'm a
definitely
sucker for love.
100%. um, I'm gonna ask you one more Lucha Underground question, and then I'm gonna ask you some other question about other promotions you worked for. But you were one of few men to hold both the Gift of the Gods and the Lucha Underground championships. How important was that to be able to, hold both those championships and to be waving that Lucha Underground flag?
I didn't believe them at first. Christian Joseph, they told me the season before, we're thinking about putting the title on you. I'm like, that's cool. Okay, sure. I didn't believe them. And then it finally came. And then one day they're like, hey, we're doing it today. I'm like, what? And they're like, no, we're doing it today. And I'm like, okay. And then they told me how it was all going to go down. And I don't think I got the importance of how awesome it was at that time. I just knew this is something that's really cool. But man, I got super blessed. They just said, "Hey, we're gonna do this," and this. They told me how it was gonna go down, and that one day was cool because he said, "Hey, we're gonna do it today. We're gonna set this up, and then it's gonna happen this day." So I brought my family out there, my wife, um, uh, and my parents, and that was just a when you have someone as awesome as Chelsea Green wrapping a title around you. You have your parents and your wife watching you, and a bunch of people. There was a very mixed reaction because I had a bunch of people yelling, "Hey, that's my champ," and a bunch of people yelling "creepy bastard" and being very angry about it. And I just told a title from Pentagon. It was a great moment. I think one of the cooler moments in my life, actually. So that was a good day. It was a good day for the House of Casals.
Um, you might have already answered this question, but I'm gonna ask it anyways. What was your favorite Lucha Underground match?
The Weapons of Mass Destruction match. I think the other one that other stuck out to me. There was like I had a match with Phoenix. We had a whole haircut angle where
Yep.
he was girlfriend with Melissa Santos, or
Hmm.
that they were together. Um, and that was fun to be able to actually put a exclamation point on the story that I had with Melissa Santos. And Melissa Santos, I've been messing with ever since that persona started. So I think that was really fun for me to stick out. I cut my hair. They're the worst hair barbarist ever. Do not get your hair cut by Melissa Santos or by Phoenix. They're amazing people and amazing wrestlers, but do not get your hair cut by them. They suck. I love
Okay.
you guys. You guys just horrible haircutters. Um, that one sticks out to me because I think that was a cool story. And then just the chance to go in the final episode of Lucha Underground, Ultima Lucha 4, and go in there as the heavyweight champ against Penta, and then just being getting given the keys to the kingdom by the writing staff to like, hey, here's all this, here's glass, there's all this stuff that you can go play with, go have some fun. And I think those three matches stick out really hard for me. Is the Weapons of Mass Destruction match, my match with Phoenix and Melissa Santos involved storyline, and that Ultima Lucha 4 with Penta.
Okay. Um, since Lucha has, we'll call it a hiatus. Since Lucha's gone on a hiatus because it'll be back.
Because it'll be back.
Um, you've worked for several promotions: Impact, AEW, Ring of Honor. What's your experience been like working with those companies? And has it ever been like a conversation to maybe stick in one of those, like to sign with Impact or to sign with AEW or Ring of Honor?
Yeah, the conversation's always there.
Okay.
I think I had most fun traveling around with AAA. AAA, I got to travel all around Mexico, and that was super fun. But yeah, those conversations are always happening, and with wrestling, you never say never. What is wanted in 1 second could be the thing that is hated the second, and something else completely different is wanted.
Hmm.
So the conversation's always there in professional wrestling.
Definitely.
I've had a blast with all those. And again, that's just going from a different wrestling company to a different wrestling company to a different wrestling company. It just feels different than Lucha, like a Lucha Underground, where it's a TV show. Man, even the vignettes at Lucha Underground were cool. Where it was like, and you don't get that in these other wrestling companies, where you get to sit down and do actual like acting scenes, like you did with Lucha Underground. But the conversation's always there. I've had a blast with every one of those companies, and honestly, I've wrestled for pretty much every single biggest wrestling company in the world, and I'm happy with everything that's been happening so far, I'm happy with my career thus far.
Okay. Um, we talked a little bit about them before we got on the camera, but how did you jump into the fold at Rocky Mountain Pro?
I love me Rocker Mountain Pro. So when going back to our conversation about getting out there and put your name out there,
Hmm.
back in roughly around 2007 or so, I was going around and doing as many shows as I could. I did a show in California as a WWE. I was an extra for a WWE show, and I met a guy named Matthew Yaden, and that ended up being, well, hey, we have a show in Colorado, where it's right now it's called Fusion, and at that time, but it was the beginnings of what Rocky Mountain Pro is. And I just built a relationship with Matt, and I would travel to Colorado all the time. Colorado is where I cut my teeth. Really, it was Utah's where I learned how to do stuff, and then Colorado, California, and Vegas is mostly where I did my thing to actually create a name for myself and cut my teeth. Um, and I love Rocky Mountain Pro because at this point in my career, I'm like, what can we do to make wrestling better than I left it? And if I was just coming into wrestling, I wish I came into like a Rocky Mountain Pro, because I had amazing basics over at UCW, but most companies in independent wrestling are you do the show for the house, and then you satisfy the several hundred people that are in the crowd that day. Rocky Mountain Pro has a weekly nationally televised television show. It for a while was written by Vince Russo. He used to write, but for Hulk Hogan. It's agented by guys like me, Kazarni Sinbodi, who's in the WWE, and a guy named D'Lo Brown, who's a WWE Hall of Famer. We have commercials midway through the match where the referees are like, "Hey, we're going to commercial." We have it's time for TV. We have backstage segments because it is for a TV product. So when you come in as a professional wrestler, you're taught, "Hey, this is how you become a cameraman. This is how you run the cords." Because when you're wrestling, it's good for you to know what it feels like to be the cameraman on the other side. And so you learn every aspect of the business, from being a cameraman to setting things up to, hey, now you're in the ring. This is how you do all this. And you're learned and taught TV, which it is what it is. In professional wrestling, you can make the most impact on people by being seen by the most amount of people, which means there needs to be a TV product or a some way for people that are not in that building for you to impact. So TV and being trained for TV is how you make the biggest impact. And so I love Rocky Mountain Pro because it's my friend Matthew Yaden now runs it. It's now evolved into Rocky Mountain Pro. We got Milestone 15 coming up on June 27th, live on pay-per-view, which is literally on YouTube. It's live, so you can see the pre-show there, and then if you buy the pay-per-view, you can get the actual show. I'm fighting for the heavyweight titles, the Rocky Mountain Pro Championship. It's exciting because I love supporting people in their businesses. So if it's a business where I get to do what I love and help you do the thing that you love, awesome. So I have a special spot in my heart for Rocky Mountain Pro because I've been wrestling there right from the beginning, and so I've watched some of those fans grow up, man. That's what I love about these local communities that are around here. You've just seen some of these fans are local and proud of the companies, that you just see them grow up with you as you grow up through your life. So I wish I had Rocky Mountain Pro when I first started wrestling. And I think more people should model themselves after Rocky Mountain Pro to have a school, have a national television product with connections to go anywhere else you want. And with by people, like I said earlier, if you want success in anything, find people who have success and emulate what they're doing. that's exactly what's going on. What Yaden worked for TNA for the longest time, and the people that he brings in is immaculate. So I love me some Rocky Mountain Pro. If you can't tell, I love me some Rocky Mountain Pro, and I'm about to be the Rocky Mountain Pro champion.
What's been your favorite moment so far in Rocky Mountain Pro?
Ah, man. Um, Honestly, storylines. I love telling stories. Like suplexes are cool. They hurt after years and years. They hurt every time, by the way. Just after more years, they hurt more. Being able to tell a longer story than, hey, just this is this night. And then from this night in front of these couple hundred people, this is the story that we're going to tell. And we have to tell it all in the ring with this. And then hopefully we get them excited about coming and seeing the next chapter of the story in the next show. I love that this is built around TV, just like all the highest places in professional wrestling. Um, I just think some of the storylines with like I was wrapped up with a lawyer named Preston who the ultimate bad guy lawyer. And I was in his law office, and it's fun to watch them create their characters. Yes, in the ring, like in every independent promotion, but also in backstage vignettes and characters development longer than just that one night. You can tell a lot more about a character with weekly television than you can with seeing them once a month.
Definitely, definitely. I couldn't agree more. I got one more question for you, and then I'll let you go. Uh, we are about halfway through the year 2025. I know that Rocky Mountain Pro Championship is in your sights, but what are some of your other goals for the rest of this calendar year?
Retire my wife.
Okay.
I run a digital payment platform where the fees that you get when you swipe your debit or credit cards.
Hmm.
Instead of letting that fee happen, I take that fee and give it back to the people that are using my platform. So I retiring my wife. That is one of my goals. I have several TV shows that are on its way. There's a video game from Virtual Basement that has my likeness where I did mocap for, and
I've
I'm
been
gonna be
waiting
part
on
of the
that one.
video game. Yeah, me too, man. I'm so excited for it. There's good news happening with it. Figuring out this with Killswitch Engage. Killswitch Engage did my entrance music for Lucha Underground.
Okay.
They did a song called Unleashed for me. And Adam from Killswitch Engage came to an Airbnb and we worked on laughs and just a collaboration on making it work. And Lucha Underground didn't take it for whatever. And so I'm trying to see if I can get that Killswitch Engage song in the video game. So I got movies coming up, video games. My business is booming. I just came out with these energy drinks called the Rascals. Um, I have commercial real estate that's happening right now, so we are almost done building the bottom floor of an apartment complex, a hundredplex out here in Ogden, Utah. Then I have another 850 plex being built in Gainesville, Texas.
Okay.
So just a lot of things happening. Dana White called me. I'm gonna be doing this thing for this UFC Power Slap. I'm doing that as well. So man, when you say what goals are there, there's just so many amazing things happening right now. Just being as successful as possible and taking the most out of every opportunity that I have coming up. And it's blessed to be like, I almost feel like I'm bragging. Anytime I'm like, so what are your goals? What are you doing with your life? I'm like, I got a video game coming out. I have commercial apartments that are being built all over the place. There's my company's blowing up with this digital payment platform. We're working on cards, action figures. I'm blessed. And it all became from professional wrestling, just like the name of your freaking podcast. I love professional wrestling, and my life would be so different without professional wrestling. So goals, have as much fun with wrestling and leave wrestling as best as I can. Make the best movies and video games that I can. Help as many people as possible. Have retirement parties and use my fan experience in that and my digital payment platform. And basically help as many people as I can.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much for joining me for this hour. I will leave the door open if you ever want to come on for part two. I'm not gonna lie, I still have a plethora of questions. I could talk to you all day. The door's
I know
open.
that hour happened so quick, brother. I
I
didn't even
know it
realize it
flew.
was an hour, man.
I love it when these just fly by. So I can't wait to do part two.
Absolutely. I'd love to do part two with you. Tag and post me on everything. I'd love to retweet and share it. I love that you're out there chasing something that you enjoy. I feel if I could say anything to everybody on this chat, um, if you want something in life, go do it. Instead of talking about it, make an action plan, set a date, and then go do it. If you don't make it by that date, awesome. You're probably, if you're doing the action steps to get there, you're probably closer than if you didn't do nothing.
Yep.
So go and make your dreams come true. Because I've seen so many people say, I want to be a professional wrestler. I want to be retired. I want to be this. And they don't take any action steps to do it. So please, if you have a dream or an inkling that there's something more for your life, go out there and fucking do it.
I gotta leave it at that. Thank you, and we'll see you next time, Martin.
Later. Thanks much, Justin.